Well, a very good morning to you watching. My name is Masika Tsime and today is the 19th of July 2024 and welcome to Smart Men's Business. Well, of course, we are located at Nile Avenue, Plot 42. You can come and get in touch with us, say hello to us and, inquire about a few things. And of course, we're on different social media platforms. You can go next, catch us on Smart24 TV now. And leave a comment, like, and of course follow. And on Facebook, Smart24 TV official. You can go follow us, like, and of course comment where necessary. And on YouTube, just go on YouTube, just type in Smart24 TV, and of course go to the live section. And if you're a newcomer, don't forget to subscribe. Well, that is it. And of course on GSTV channel 372 and GoTV channel 320. It is quite amazing for Friday morning. Yeah, I know it's the end of week for most of the civil servants, or if you're an employee anywhere. And guess what? Just a few hours you will be, relaxing a bit. So please make sure that you're on time to make sure that you finish. I believe this is a time where people get to go up country to check on their farms, check on their family. Yeah. Good morning, Andrew.
Good morning, Mercy.
Yes.
It's quite to Friday, and I guess as we head into the weekend, it's one of the most exciting moments for the people out there. But I feel like away from that, putting aside all the happiness, it's good to reflect back how the week has been. I take a look at the events that have happened in all various aspects of lives, from social, political, and economical, and what line do you draw within those events to come up with something that you can start up with when it comes to the coming week. Well, I guess it's been a very interesting week.
Yeah, it's been an interesting week, having insights of different topics relating to gender equality. And yesterday we were just talking about
men being discriminated.
Though on a minimal level, honestly.
On a minimal level.
Yeah, but the reason it's there, but not so much.
When I was hosting Kwebi Hamzama yesterday, and I was trying to find out when he said that, when I told him that this whole move of women empowerment, pushing for women advocacy in all aspects, doesn't it feel like it's too much hyped up in terms of now it's the talk and men seem to be left behind?
Exactly.
And he told me one thing: who has refused men to advocate for themselves?
Exactly.
And I'm like, do they need to? And he mentioned something about ego. The ego makes us feel like we're entitled to. Nobody needs to. We don't need to call for something. We don't need to call for. We're advocating for men's rights. It would sound weird.
Well, I think really most men I think would want to talk, but the fact that it's not about, it could be about ego, the ego, but
the ego beats is
yes, but the cultural norms.
The cultural norms, yeah.
You're not supposed to do this, and it has grown within you, much as you feel like you want to let it out, but you can't.
Okay.
Yes. So a point where men are supposed to be supporting fellow men, they're now supporting women.
Yeah, actually, somebody said it's easy for a woman to help. A man to help a woman. It's easy for it's easy for a man to help a woman than help a man. It's also easy for a woman to help a fellow woman than a man. It's easy for the society to help a woman than a man. So as a man, you're on your own. Okay, it's what is being depicted, but I think when we get into the right sense, if we are advocating for policies and all that, I think they should cut across all genders, not feeling like I'm discriminated or something. And now today's discussion is going to take a unique turn as we take a look at from the legal perspective and legislative, realizing the gender equality, taking a look at constitutional provisions and legal frameworks and approaches to gender equality, where we take a look at national policies and strategies at the same time. And later on in our Business Insight, something quite very amazing, I'll be joined with some guests to ponder this further. I'm going to be joined with a lawyer, that is Ntwatwa Jackson, who actually has written to the president sometime, and he was requesting to be the justice minister. So, I don't know how it really transpired. Didn't go really the best, but we shall be pondering further. And also, we have a discussion along still in line with the course of political reforms, charting a new path for democratic governance. So we shall be dwelling further into those discussions. Well, and then just a brief here. Since we said we're going to be taking a look at the constitutional reforms, in Article 21 of the Ugandan Constitution, it guarantees equality before the law and non-discrimination on various grounds, including gender. We've seen discrimination in terms of the aspect of tribes, region, location, and so many more. Of course, looking at education level and all that, but also gender is key. Then Article 33 specifically addresses the rights of women, emphasizing their right to equal treatment and protection by the law. So the Constitution, okay, because the women perhaps have been deemed an inferior race.
Exactly.
From the beginning of time.
Yeah, from the beginning of time.
Yeah.
And, you know, when the laws were made then, you know, in the ancient times, was it in the AD or before Christ?
AD.
There is not to count women.
Women, yeah.
You get. So when they were doing laws and regulations, policies, the women were not inclusive.
Inclusive.
You know, it is when it became too much and they felt women were left out. Yeah. So they started including them, and we're adapting actually. Us in Uganda, we're adapting. That is why the more the world adapts, the more discrimination, the more the boy child is left out.
It's left out.
Yeah, because now you see women. The emphasis is on women now.
Yeah.
But why? Because originally it was for you.
It was for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we saw what the world was like when men dominated it. We had wars happening in conquest aspects. And now maybe perhaps when we try to create the balance whereby women are brought into positions of what we call, power, being trained equal, perhaps 50 to 100 years from now, let's project and see how the world will be. I would love us to see more women presidents. Taking more women being in parliament in different countries, not only just in Uganda. I think it would give us a certain sense, like they say, educate a man, you are raising a dictator. Or when you educate a woman, you're raising a generation. So I want to see how that really shows out. But that will portray 50 to 100 years.
Tanzania to look up for.
Yeah, Tanzania actually serves a good example, and I think Brazil, serves a good example. And maybe just a little bit before we get into the press, Article 32. Still, we're looking at the constitutional related aspects, the provisions and the legal frameworks here. Article 32 clearly mandates affirmative action that is to address imbalances against marginalized groups, inclusive women, so we are seeing how all this is changing. And of course, I would also not miss out on the Equal Opportunities Act 2007, which established the Equal Opportunities Commission to monitor, to evaluate and ensure the implementation of equal opportunities and affirmative action in that line. Well, for this matter, we shall be, of course, proceeding with this discussion later on. But for now, let's take a look at what's making headlines into the press. Well, heading straight, opening the new vision here, Masa will be taking us through what is happening in the Daily Monitor. And of course, what's making headlines, the Ministry of Trade, Permanent Secretary detained. Sally faces fraud charges of about 3.3 billion of cash.
Since last year.
So, yes, since last year.
She has been the ultimate lamb sacrifice. She's the example here. Wow. It's been hard for her.
Corruption. So many times, President Museveni, And this time around, there is a whole question coming up, and they're saying, why corruption? Why is President Museveni now so much into corruption? And some people are trying to comparing it to, it's like a thief steals a phone from you and shouts, and the people that are around you are helping to shout on your behalf, but yet they are the very people that are paving way for that thief to take your phone. They're simply acting like they're after the thief.
Strategy.
We're thinking.
I mean, that's the thing that is trending.
Yeah.
Almost when you're getting towards the elections, everyone has a thing that they have to focus on. To attract the attention of citizens or voters. They'll be like, I am going to do ABC because it's ABC and D is happening. Yeah. So for some, it could be planned. Yeah. And just like they say, Trump's thing was staged. I don't know.
The Trump thing. Wow, interesting. Anyway, I have my opinions about that. Yeah, but I won't talk about it now. Perhaps later. But we see how President Museveni has been running this country. We've seen aspects of age limits, which were, withdrawn. And of course, this to happen, some people had to scoop by with cash. You see that? Yeah. So I'm trying to understand, is he in a repentant mode right about now? But if he's acting repentant, then why don't we have the constitution back to the age limits? You remember in 2017 what really happened in all that line. But anyway, this is what is happening here. When you grab yourself a copy of the New Vision, you'll be able to find out. And then President Museveni launches oil storage facility at Kawuku. Yeah. I think you see now the Kawuku, I'm not so familiar with some of the areas in Uganda, but I think it must be in Entebbe, because here he's chatting with Ravi Shankar, the managing director of Mahati Infra, that is Infra, during the inspection of the oil vessels after commissioning Lake Victoria Logistics at Kawuku, Wakiso. Yeah. So, and here we see police, prisons get pay rise. Yeah, the IGP and Commission of Prisons will now earn 15.4 million, while their deputies will earn 13.8 a month. Special police constables, who are the lowest ranking officers, have had their salaries enhanced from 375,000 to 440.
Okay.
Yeah, but the interesting thing is that the IGP and the Commissioner of the Prisons will be now earning 15.5 million, and their deputies 13.8 million. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm seeing. Wow. Ooh. Okay. Police constables. Wow. Okay. That's some huge increase actually. That's really a little bit, compared to what they do. Honestly, it's not easy, and the environment they live in. Oh goodness, it's really worrying.
I've actually been that side.
The barracks.
On the prison.
Oh, you have?
I wasn't arrested.
Oh, no, you could be visiting.
I'd gone to visit a friend, okay. Not actually necessarily, not necessarily a prisoner. I've not, but I had a friend that had a cousin that was working with the prisons,
okay.
And I actually got a chance to spend the night there. How it feels like, but the place is peaceful. Surprisingly, when you hear the aspect prison, what comes in your mind is that, the atmosphere as well. But it's a calm place and all that. So I think maybe if the conditions for the prisoners, perhaps, but this is Uganda, that's what you really anticipate. What kind of a prison do you expect? But I can imagine the officers, the Commission on Prisons, what they go through to maintain that huge, aspect every day. So they deserve the salary increase, perhaps.
They do. They really have done a lot for our country. The security. Yeah, so really, I don't think there is that. Then the moment they start increasing salaries, other entities will come in and also try to
lobby for that.
Yeah.
But I'm still, if we were to take a look at this in the line, salary increment of these people, and yet this is minus the allowances they get, and take a look at the state in what sectors really need investment in this country, it kind of puts me to a question of what are our priorities as a country. We don't budget cuts for various sectors, but salary increases for individuals. And that's how I perceive this.
Well, of course, that is why on Monday we're going to be having a very beautiful conversation.
On wage theft.
You have to really know what your benefits are and fight for what you really deserve. You cannot work extra time and no allowances, no benefits. Honestly, it's tiring.
And that's what about 70% of the population, the kind of a condition for most of the workers in this country.
As long as you're in the private sector, my friend.
Yeah, the private sector.
You have no say. So and of course here in the monitor, like I said, the permanent secretary here in fire, lighting up over the funds, and of course looking at salaries of police and prisons chiefs doubled. Of course, victims of wetland evictions, Tom Nemmer, and of course Aga Khan High School shines at exam again, with the schools passing a global IB average pass mark. Regretting for these schools is different from our.
First, repeat that. What did the headline say?
Aga Khan School surpasses global IB average pass mark.
IB pass mark. What do they mean by IB pass mark?
The international by this is a very hard word.
Okay.
So the pass mark, the average is achieving 32.9 points, and of course 96% pass rate among the 25 candidates who took the May 2024 international. The diploma examinations.
This is quite interesting because even as we speak right now, I think 5 years from now, we had this whole perspective of F9s and what. They are normal.
Phase out.
They're going to be normal because even those people that have failed can do something for this world. So a mark does not determine your life.
It doesn't determine whether you are. It doesn't determine how you will excel in life.
Exactly. It doesn't.
It's just a paper. You may not have read. Maybe not have prepared. It doesn't deem me. Very shallow in class, because there are moments where you get an F, and the next paper you get a distinction.
You get a distinction.
You get so. Doesn't really qualify someone to be down in class.
So in other words, can we say that the people that have F9s, because our education system seems to be the old one, of course we are adapting the new curriculum, was based on eliminating people. And when you eliminated, that elimination will determine, kind of psychologically, makes you believe this is who you are. You are a failure. You failed to make it.
Exactly. Isn't F a failed?
Yeah, of F9. I think F stands for failure. I don't know. Wow. We used to talk about F9, but do we know even what F and F is? But pass 8s and all that, they can do something in life. But however, of course, there is also this aspect that the students become reluctant in terms of saying, after all, no F9s, and they won't concentrate. But anyway, what does passing in exams really mean? The real world is different. Somebody was comparing something in the British. They will ask for your qualifications. In Uganda, of course, it's more of who do you know. In America, it's what can you do. So I think it explains a free country like America, how it has actually come to be where it is today. Because of that, first of all, embracing different races, it's risky. You don't know what their intentions are, but it's that freedom of expression. Marks don't determine who you are, because even the richest billionaires we look up to, none of them really had a good record in class, apart from one, Elon Musk. Elon Musk graduated, actually. He passed, he did well. I think that's why he's the richest, maybe. Could we say that class is also good for you to be a billionaire? Anyway, away from that, now we take a look at here. President Museveni meets South Korea investors. And of course, investors offered to give expertise in the form of training Ugandans in South Korea. I think this is what we need. Somebody had a question, is that why is it so easy for Bibles to be supplied for free, and and yet it's hard for the information to be supplied. Like even the information that we get from West is actually outdated. Why don't we get the updated? But I love such talks now. It's not about coming to invest in this country, but train the Ugandans such that they will be able to do what you do.
Exactly.
You know, when I studied the history of development, if you take a look at the empires that have grown, for example, the Dutch Empire, you find that the people that used to work on their ships, because they used to do that cross-Atlantic trade, were the British. And now when the Dutch reached their maximum and they had made it in life, they became luxurious. But these people that had come to work as slaves knew where they come from. So they had to get the skills of how to build these boats and now take these skills back to the economy. And now the British Empire now is rising. So this is what we need, training the Ugandans to become experts at that. I think that is much more better.
Well, of course, here I'm looking at cases here. Local revenue hits 114 billion.
Local revenue.
Yes, the local revenue. Wow, this is quite interesting, actually. And of course, they recorded an increase in revenue collection with the highest amount in the last financial year of 2023-2024, according to the executive director. Of course, yesterday we were briefing journalists there, and of course, it's quite a good achievement if you have to
I'll say.
Yes, yes, they're really doing.
But the challenge is, where is that money going? Is it coming back to the community? If you're collecting this revenue,
Yeah,
because the challenge
problem, actually.
Because Mercy, the challenge is that Kampala gives out too much, but what it gets back is not equivalent to what it gives. You know, it's either taken by certain individuals or taken to invested in sectors which are not really, you know, because President Idi Amin, before he left office, he had a plan to construct a new city, and there was a plan already there. So what happened to that? So the question is, the money that is collected out of Kampala, because when you take a look at the structures in Kampala, we shall say that I think at some degree we just need to build another city, because they're outdated. They're not modern infrastructures as compared to what we see. Perhaps it can become a tourist attraction, by the way. Just maintain the buildings. You know, China has the old city. Way back in the ancient, up to now, tourists go there.
Very, very much.
They're maintained. So for Uganda's sake, I think money collected from Kampala can be essential if we are talking about building another capital. Because now here, if we develop other places, we shall reduce the congestion.
We are more congested, just like Nigeria did, remember?
Exactly,
Yeah, and what's Tanzania?
Tanzania, the same.
We could have a less congested.
Yeah, less congested. If we could have like 5 solid cities where people can settle. And I think this all...
They do, I guess, in every
established cities. Okay, they do, but every person...
but because this is the capital, it's
the capital.
It's hard for people to settle into those cities firmly, to establish, you know, businesses and...
But do you think it's possible to still have those cities established? Just like how
it
you
is
see...
very possible. It's very possible. But I think we have that mentality of wherever city Kampala, it cannot...
But now that's the mentality we need to kill. By building, whereby if I'm in Masaka, I don't need to come to Kampala.
Yeah, I can get what I need from...
If I'm in New York, I don't need to go to California. If I'm in California, I don't need to go to New York.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it explains why we see people being recently in Luigi, people's houses were broken.
Yeah.
You know, now talking about areas which are in line with NEMA's. But why are these houses broken? It's because these people want to settle near the city. They perceive that being near the city is the only way out. But if we can create gazetted cities from the revenues connect, because Kampala, in most cases, cities that actually generate a lot of revenue. If you take a look at, they're not really so developed, because generating revenue comes with a cost. There is movement of vehicles, pollution, and all that. Just like New York. It's a bit nasty, congested, smelly, old subway stations, and of course many people say, who cares about New York? No president. But it generates income. But that income has actually been used to develop other cities. Las Vegas, Florida. I think we should copy. I believe in benchmarking a lot, where we can actually have this really work out for us.
Yeah, if we had a really established city in every region. That would be,
establish it in every region. Yeah, that would be quite solid.
It would be quite solid. I wouldn't want to come to, the capital to get, services.
Services.
Yeah. And, referrals. The major referral is here.
Yeah.
Then you have to, but we can really establish our cities in different regions. We could maybe for Western there is Mbara. That can also be established for. There is Ginger. Could be established.
Yeah.
There is Gulu.
Gulu, yeah, Gulu City.
Mbale.
Mbara. I think even Mbara.
Yeah, Mbara, Western Uganda.
I've not been there quite often.
It's nearer. You can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. And of course, here in further reports, we'll take a look at the government urging oil companies to reduce pump prices. Yeah. By the way, you realize actually there's been a reduction of 100 shillings.
Yeah,
I normally I don't pay attention to diesel because, but but the thing is, we had petrol at 5,450. Now it's at 5,350. No, 5,003. Yeah, 300. Before it was at 5,450. Of course, in some petrol stations, it's at 539, based on the locations. Actually, that still puzzles people.
Some pumps are actually at 4,000.
4,000? 4,000?
Almost to 5,000.
I think depending. Yeah. Okay.
No, because
here I've been specific, I think, on a certain brand.
Yeah, it's at a brand.
Yeah,
there is a lot
exactly.
of competition when it comes to fuel pumps.
Yeah.
My goodness, the congestion from one station, then the next is the fuel. So there's a lot of competition. So depending on the brand you have to
attract.
You have to come down to attract. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see.
Well, of course, that brings us to the end. Unless you have interesting, that brings us to the end of our press review today. And of course, grab yourself a copy if you want interesting facts here. You can get yourself interested with the study case.
Oh wait, something else says more men dying in accidents.
Oh yeah.
According to the report, in 2021, 250,000 lives were lost to accidents in Africa. More men are dying in accidents. Why?
Because they travel more. They are the ones that work more, so they traveling. But then in Kampala it's different. I see more women.
Most men drive these days.
Yeah.
Wow. But actually this cuts across. Whether you have a private car
or public, using public.
Yeah,
means.
or you're moving public means. But of course here in the division they've put a picture of a taxi. I don't know why a taxi in an accident is a symbol if you get an accident. I don't know.
Oh yeah, that could be definitely Uganda. This looks like.
Of course, this is Uganda, Kampala Gulu Highway.
Yeah, I mean, why? It could be. The accident could trigger the death. When someone is not even meant to die that day because
the fear,
the stress that you have,
the stress that comes along,
just like
and
that.
some people die of shock.
Exactly.
I think 70% better than injuries. It's more like how I realized that sometimes when you shoot a bullet, you don't die because of the pain of the bullet. You die because you've lost blood. That's the concept.
Even shock. People, when they're falling off buildings, they die before they
land on the ground.
Yeah.
I don't know how true that is.
It is true because the shock, the heart just stops beating for a second.
Amazing.
By the time you're down, you're not.
Your soul has already left your body.
Well, of course, that brings us to the end of the press review. And of course, let's go in for a short commercial break. Coming up is what is happening in East Africa and much more. Stick around.